you believe me if I told you, I've already said it to you, have I, that the Lusitania Museum here on the Old Head Peninsula, it's closed, right? But I'm going to go up and just try and conceal walk into the grounds of it, right? And just here, just there, people, is a golf course, obviously members and guests, you know what I mean? There's a person there, like, at the gate, a little kind of a hut place, you want to call it, you know. But anyway, the Old Head Lighthouse is down there, and I asked him, there were two men there, real nice men, and I asked him, like, is there a way of getting down to it? And he says no, it's private. It's like somebody own. I don't know what, somebody lives in it or someone, but it's private area down there. So, and I was telling him that this place is closed. He says, yeah, that's very unusual. He says it should be. They can't understand why it's closed, right? So I'm going to pull in here, people, anyway, and talk to you about the Lusitania. Okay, so stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. Hello, people. Right, so I'm down here, people, at the Old Head of Kinsale, right? Now, I can see the lighthouse from here, but there's no access to it. It's private area down there, right? Anyway, so down there, right? So, getting back to the Lusitania, people, right? I look up out here, people. That's the Celtic, call it the Celtic Sea, but part of the massive Atlantic Ocean, okay? So, on May the 15th, the 7th of May, what am I saying, the 15th? The 7th of May, 1915, yeah, that's why we're saying 15, right? So the 7th of May, 1915, the Lusitania, right, the luxury cruise ship, right, was coming back from New York, right, to Liverpool, okay? And it was her 202nd voyage, right? Now, the Lusitania, people, just to give us a bit of history about the Lusitania, she was built in Scotland, I think on the River Clyde, right? And she was, built in 1906, okay? And the thing about the Lusitania was, it was owned by the Cunard liner, right? The British Cunard, right? They're still in operation today, my friends, right? But here's the thing, the Lusitania and her sister ship, the Mauretania, I've ever heard of the Mauretania, right? Those two ships were built specifically to break the speed record between England and New York. The British did hold a record, you know, going back and forth to America, right? But then the Germans, they were heading back and forth to America. And I can't think of the name of the German cruise liner that broke the record going back and forth to New York, right? Of course, this is during the time of the British Empire, people, and you know, the British Empire, like, you know what I mean, like, they couldn't be outdone. So what they done was, Cunard, right, they asked the British government for help, right, to subsidise the building of these ships, right, to try and win back the speed record on the sea between England and New York, right? So the British government at the time says, yeah, no problem, we'll do that, but there's only one condition. We want to have a say as well on the building of it. We'll put someone in there from the Admiralty, and we wanted to sign that in time of war, right, that they can put in spaces on the deck of it for 12 kind of guns, right, okay? And also, they wanted a place, this is in the hull, the lower part of the hull of it, a secret cargo bay in it, right, okay? So anyway, Cunard said, yeah, right. So the ship was built above the Clyde and was introduced into the sea at 1906, and they tested it, like, in secret. I don't know whether it was on the Irish Sea up beside Scotland or something, right? And they got up to 24.5 knots, so, yeah. And then they, on the first voyage to New York, they didn't break the speed record because they were just trying it out, you know what I mean? But they did break it, I think, the second time, right? So it was the fastest cruise liner across the Atlantic for a while anyway, right? And anyway, so yeah, so her sister ship, the Mauretania, right? Not built by the same company, but was still a sister ship of the Lusitania. Just looking at beautiful views here, people, look at this, right? So the Mauretania then went on and broke the record crossing to New York, right? So the Lusitania, even though it was a sister ship, wasn't happy with the fact that the Mauretania had broken their record, right? So they went and they done some work, I think, on the propellers on it, and they won it back again, right? But then the Mauretania, after the Lusitania won back the speed record again, the Mauretania broke it again, right? So those two ships, British ships, they held the record going back and forth across from New York, right? Blah, 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 right? It didn't last that long because other ships then took over again, right? But anyway, eventually the First World War broke out, right? And the Germans said that any ship, any commercial ship of any kind within the British Isles are in danger, they're a threat to Germany and blah, 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 and they'll be attacked, right? And the Germans had the U-boats. Even though the British tried to blockade Germany, they didn't realise about that the Germans had the U-boats, right? And so look, now there's a ship actually, people, if you believe it or not, I can see it in the distance there. It's just sitting there, it looks like a tanker or a cargo ship, right, just off the head of Kinsale. And that's probably 11 miles off there, you wouldn't think it, right? So anyway, yeah. So the Germans' U-boats were causing havoc. They were blowing up merchant ships and British, Navy ships and stuff, right? And they patrolled all around here, all around the British Isles, right? And on the day that the Lusitania was coming from New York and it wasn't going at full speed, and one of the passengers on board kind of got on to the captain and saying, we're not going at full speed, blah, 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 right? But they weren't using all the boilers on the ships because there was a shortage of coal or something, right? Like, I think they used something like 900 tons of coal crossing the Atlantic, right, ocean, right? So they were doing about 18 knots or something. So when they came off the coast here of Ireland, the south coast of Ireland here, there was a fog, and eventually the fog kind of lifted. And they had got warning from Britain saying that there is a U-boat, a German U-boat in the vicinity, and be careful, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, before they left New York, right, on the day that they left New York, I put it up what day, I think it was the 5th or something maybe, right? The German embassy in Washington put a piece in the American newspapers, right, warning that any ship entering the British Isles, around the British Isles, is a legitimate target, right? So anyway, the captain, I forget his name already, people, George somebody, I think his name is, right? Anyway, so they're down off Kinsale here, right, at about 2 p.m. in the day on the 7th of May, right, 1915. And that German submarine and the commander on it, he had already sunk 3 other merchant ships like within that week. I think this particular commander of that U-boat, attacked 49 ships or something, sunk 49 ships, right? And they were just about, I think, they weren't too far from finishing and heading back home, and they were just looking out with binoculars or whatever it was into the distance, and you could see the black smoke from the funnels of a US cruise liner. So the Lusitania comes off the coast here, right? And the captain's trying to get his bearings off the head of Kinsale, and then he turns it, and then he turns the ship, right, heading then to go up around the coast and up the Irish Sea towards Liverpool. And so the German guy couldn't believe his luck, and he was about 750 yards, right, half a mile from the Lusitania, and they shot off one torpedo that travelled at 40 miles an hour, and it hit the ship within a minute, right? And of course, yeah, blew up the ship, right? But then there was a second explosion, right? But anyway, in the second explosion, the ship had a lilt, you know, tilted, right? And so, with the way it was positioned in the sea, they had serious hassle trying to get the lifeboats into the sea, you know. And people boarded the lighthouse, and some of the lifeboats. Some of the lifeboats crashed into the sea and killed the people, and another lifeboat fell on another lifeboat below it. Do you know what I mean? And killed people. So anyway, people, yeah, and that happened off the head of Kinsale here. It's an amazing history, isn't it? So listen, people, I'm going to tell you about how many passengers. I have it written down here. I screenshot it, right? So just hang on a second, I'll tell you, okay? Right, people, just some more information about the Lusitania. I only realised there, people, if the sound is not great, it was because I had the microphone inside my coat, right? So, on board the ship, the Lusitania, on its way coming from New York, there was 1,959 men, women and children. I think that included crew and all, right? And 1,195 perished, including 123 Americans, right? And people, it sank, as I said to you, 11 miles off the head of Kinsale here, right? And out there, people, that's where it lies still to this day, right? 302 feet under the water, okay? And your man the captain did try to beach it, kind of headed towards Kinsale, but that second explosion, and this is where the controversy comes in, right? They reckon there was explosives on board the ship, right? Now, the British at the time totally denied it, and the sinking of the Lusitania, actually, people, was one of the big reasons why the Americans eventually got themselves involved in the First World War, right? Because of the sinking of the Lusitania out here off the old head of Kinsale, right? And here's another mad thing, right? There was a man on board the Lusitania, right? He was a stoker. In other words, he probably was one of the men that was lashing the coal into the big boilers on board, right? And wasn't that man 3 years previously on the Titanic, and he survived the Titanic, and then he was on the Lusitania here and survived the Lusitania. Isn't that crazy? And then there was some other American woman, I can't think of her name, right? And she swam from 11 miles out, not all the way in, but a good bit of the way in to the shore here. And only for like fishermen from Kinsale, they were the first to get out to the ship. Like, there was I'd say an awful lot of people died of hypothermia as well, because by the time they actually got boats completely out of it, among the whole lot of them was 3 hours after the sinking of it. Like, it sank in 18 minutes, you know. So some say that it sank at 2:10 in the day. Other people say that it was attacked at 2:02 in the afternoon of the 7th of May 1915, right, by the German U-boat, but they all say it went down in 18 minutes, because that second explosion, of course, they were saying it was the boiler that exploded. One of the boilers exploded, right? But there is, I think there is evidence saying that there was explosives and stuff, ammunition for the war effort on board that ship. You know what I mean, Lusitania. Yeah, so that's the story, people, of the Lusitania. I was very, very fascinated by that, I have to say. It's amazing that man who survived the Titanic was on this ship and survived being on this ship. And the German U-boat guy, he met his comeuppance then. I don't know whether it was the following year or 2 years later, right? I don't know whether he was on the same U-boat, right? but it ran into a mine in the sea, and obviously he was killed, you know what I mean? So there you go, my friends. And the captain of the ship, the British captain of the ship, like, he was exonerated, you know what I mean? They were blaming him, but he was exonerated, and he went on then to captain, I think, other ships, and he died in 1938, right? And of course, you know, like, go back then, there was an awful lot of wealthy people on board, a lot of famous Americans on board as well, writers and such like, you know what I mean? But yeah, so this is where it happened, people, off the coast here, in May 1915, right? So that's it, my friends. I'm going to go up here so you can walk into where the museum is, you know what I mean, have a look around, okay? So stay tuned, my friends, okay? People, the coastline here is absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous, look. I wonder if that Mizzen Head over there. Because Mizzen Head is the most southerly point in Ireland, and it's in County Cork, right? So I'm just guessing over there is Mizzen Head, people, right? I must look it up on the map. But the scenery along here is just spectacular, I have to say. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, people, I'm not going further to the edge here. Spectacular, people. You know something? I love big, massive, open spaces. It makes me feel very free in my head, right? But look at this. I mean, you're looking, they call this the Celtic Sea, but it's really the Atlantic Ocean, part of the Atlantic Ocean. Look at the vastness. I mean, you know what I mean? Like look, there's no, it's a real open, and I love that. And look at the way the sun is dappling through the clouds, and it's onto the sea. Look, see over there, off the head. Isn't that amazing, isn't it? Look, isn't that gorgeous? Ah. Spectacular, my friends. Actually, it's magnificent. Definitely magnificent, my friend, is the word. This is another great day, people, another great day. So here we are, people, look, in memory of those who sailed on the RMS Lusitania on the 7th of May 1915. This perforated image has 34,513 holes in seven different sizes, manufactured by Grapple Perforators and Weavers Limited, Kinsale, donated to the Lusitania Museum, Old Head, 23rd of August 2017. See there, that's all done, yeah. Isn't it gas? Look, I know, like, it's still like you're down at the bottom of Ireland, south of Ireland, people. Look on the peninsula here. Look, there's a farmer in beside the sea, people. Look, twirling his hay. Look, for silage. Mad stuff, my friends. Mad stuff. So, people, this is on the Wild Atlantic Way, right? Once you see that sign there, that means you're on the Wild Atlantic Way, and that goes up the whole on the south coast here from Cork, all the way up the west coast, up to Donegal. Wow, people. It doesn't matter, the cafe is open. Look, it's not open, but I don't mind that. Ticket holders only to Museum and Memorial Garden. Well, I'm going into the Memorial Garden for free because you're not here today, so you can go and shit yourselves from an apple tree, isn't that right? 19th century ship's bollard. Look at this. Right, so here we go. What's this saying? On the 12th of February 1874, the 500-ton German bark Hercules von Barth was en route from Barrow in Furness to Cardiff to collect a cargo of coal. As the result of a storm, the ship was driven westward in a strong gale. It eventually foundered on the rugged coastline off County Cork at Bogstown, midway between Garrettstown and Hoe Strand. The vessel broke up, and of the crew of 12, only one man, Carl Cook, survived. Those who perished were interred in an unmarked grave at Currarain graveyard, not far from the scene of the tragedy. This bollard from the wreck was recovered by the Barrett family in the 1900s. It has more recently been in the possession of the Forney family, who now reside at Ballynagarrig House, formerly Bogstown House. Lusitania Museum, Old Head, Signal Tower Heritage are grateful to Mrs. Else F. Forney and family for the donation of this fine art. Triangulation pillar, location Ballymackean Old Head, a hand-cast concrete pillar tapering to a flat top, part of a network of surveying stations used by Ordnance Survey Ireland for mapping. It was erected here in 1959. Well, I don't know if it was here, but 1959. So that must be the, what's this? That's the museum there, I wonder. Right, people. Lusitania Memorial Garden, officially opened by Minister Simon Coveney, TD, in the presence of what's that, Colonel Seamus McGrath, Mayor of County Cork, the 7th of May 2017. Wow. So there she is, people, the Lusitania. Cunard line. It left, Pier 54 in New York on May the 1st, 1915, right? And as I said, it sank in 18 minutes. See that on Friday, May the 7th, 1915 at 2:10 p.m, RMS Lusitania was struck by torpedo and sank in 18 minutes. The wreck lies almost due south of this memorial on the old head of Kinsale. Lusitania crew, look. So William Thomas Turner was the captain. So that man survived, the captain survived. But I wonder did all them people there die? Look, obviously, look. They all died, obviously. And there's the thing of the submarine, look. Attacked the Lusitania. Torpedo. Sinking there, people. More names of people all that died, look. Wow. Passengers, look, all the passengers, look. A man called William Baxter, Alice Bishop, Elizabeth Clay. Look at that, people. Rose Murray, Mary Nichol. Look, they buried him, I think, down in a grave in, I think a lot of them are buried people in a graveyard down in Cove in County Cork, right? A lot of the survivors. A lot of them, they didn't even know who they were because their families were dead, you know what I mean, died. They all died in the one trip, if you know what I mean. So there must have been a song about it, look, because it says 12 survived. What does that mean, I wonder? When the Lusitania went down. So that by Chas, what's that? By CHAS Carroll and Matt VINCK. Is that Vincent? And Matt Vincent. So look out for that, people, for a song on a song about the Lusitania, right? I'm just looking at writings here on these timbers, look. So this is war, dear people. Keep from it if you can. For with it, we said nothing. 'Tis just the green man. Yeah, it's a nice memorial now, isn't it, people? Like such a lovely day. I wonder in May 1915, you know, was it such a calm, lovely day off the coast here? It's mad, people, isn't it? Before I was born, it happened before I was born, people. Long before I was born. It's crazy things that happen in the world, isn't it, people? So delighted to have come down here though now. Like, I find it fascinating when you're reading about something, then you actually come down to where it happened. It's surreal, you know what I mean? It's just amazing. People, it's a pity that there's no people here you can't get into the museum, right? But look, there's a RMS Lusitania lifeboat, and it was gifted to the Lusitania Museum at the Old Head by Jerry Dial, his wife Josie, and our family. Yeah, it's a pity. And like, there's, look, picture of the lifeboats, right? But as I said, because of how she was tilting, or lilting as they say, a lilt in the sea, they had serious difficulty in trying to get them lifeboats into the sea, you know. A lot of them just crashed down and killed people, actually. Yeah. Sad, people, very, very sad. Yeah, it's a lovely memorial, I have to say. Right, people, I think it's time to go and look for a cup of tea and a nice bite to eat somewhere. Right, yeah. Another place, people, that I'm so glad I came to visit. As I said, very, very sad, but it's great to have this memorial here. I just can't believe that I'm standing here and I'm looking out where the Lusitania was hit by a German U-boat submarine at 2:10 on the 9th of May 1915, long before I was born, right? A tragedy occurred just out there, people. Amazing, isn't it? Like, it's from year to year, decade to decade, century to century, there has been so many tragedies all over the world, my friends, since we came out of Africa. Yeah. Right, people, stay tuned. We'll go somewhere to look for a cup of tea, okay? Stay tuned, my friends. I've got the countryside down here, people. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that landscape there, the hills, and the cliffs on this side as well. Wow. I'm blown away, my friends. I'm blown away. People, remember in the previous video, and I was down at that pub called, what was it called? The Spaniard, right? And was it that the pub I was reading? Yeah, it was, yeah. And about the Flight of the Earls, right? There's a lot of history, people, you know, that I haven't even read about in the past to do with Ireland, right? But anyway, look, it says, the Flight of the Earls. In 1601, Spanish ships arrived to help the Gaelic Irish chiefs fight rule from England. After defeat at the Battle of Kinsale, many chiefs fled to Spain and France. James II landed in Kinsale in 1689 to try to regain his thrones. A 40-strong French fleet manned by 13,000 seamen and carrying 6,000 soldiers accompanied him. The following year, James returned from Kinsale to France defeated. Right? Yeah, amazing history, people. You know something, people? See the golf course down here, right? I'm just wondering, how the hell did they get to have a golf course down here beside the old head of Kinsale with the lighthouse there? And according to the two men I met there, that you can't get down to it, it's privately owned or something, right? But how did that, whoever that golf club is, did they buy that land or something? Personally, I think that shouldn't be allowed. The state should as far as I can, buy that golf course off them, right? You know, I haven't really got much time, people, for golf and the golf fraternity, because most of them are arseholes, people. They think they're fairly important, you know. That's just my opinion, people, and I'm sticking to it, okay? Stay tuned, people. We'll be going for a cup of tea somewhere, okay? Stopping here, people, to get a picture. It's just so lovely, I have to say. Yeah, Ireland is, people, amazing country, I have to say. It really is amazing. Really enjoying myself here, people, down in Cork, people, in County Cork. You know, people, if there was a big huge tsunami, right, in the Atlantic Ocean, do you know the only county in Ireland that would survive it would be here, Cork, because Cork floats. I know, silly joke, people, isn't it? Stay tuned, my friends. Right, people, have to get out this beach here. Look at this beach. This is just great. Great stuff, my friends, I have to say. Look at this beach, my friends. Go by the seaweed there, but still, you just can't beat the noise of the waves coming into the shore, so you can't. Something very soothing and relaxing about it. Look at that, people. Isn't that a lovely sound, isn't it? Wow. Hello, little dog. What can I say, people? What can I say? Oh, I'm so relaxed here. It's just great. Nature, people, is just fabulous. We're part of it. You know what I mean? Like, try and get out in it more often if you can, right? Before you die. That is just fabulous, my friends. Fabulous. Well, I'm dying for a cup of tea and a bite to eat, right? So stay tuned, my friends, and we'll stop somewhere. Okay? In Southern Ireland, my friends, in Southern Ireland, County Cork. There's an awful lot of cute horrors down here in County Cork, my friends. Very cute. Right, people, my battery is running down, so that's it, people, from the Lusitania Museum, right, and the Old Head Peninsula in County Cork, right. Fabulous, I have to say, absolutely fabulous. Put on your bucket list, people. Another 10 out of 10 destination, tourist destination if you're in Ireland, right. Right, people, so if you like the video, please press the like, and if you're new to the channel, please press subscribe, it's free. And until next Sunday from Cork, right, take care, my friends, and keep safe, and I'll see you after 5 p.m. next Sunday. Bye.